Hey, Young Artist Showcase participants and Audrey and fellow judges. My name is Michael Buckley, and I am from the What the Buck Show on YouTube, youtube.com/Buck. I love how I'm like pimping myself out. I'm like, watch me, forget about these skaters. It's all about me. So yeah, I'm super excited that Audrey asked me to be a judge. And of course, I wanted to do light comedy because the nature of my show is light comedy. I actually do have some skating background. I skate okay. I've been watching skating my whole life, so I'm kind of approaching this as an audience member. Certainly not an expert in skating or anything, but I did take notes, so I have notes in front of me. But I just wanted to say that I mean, comedy is hard, and I'm sure many of you are glad this challenge is over. And Audrey knows this was like a tough first assignment, and you know, I think any comedy, light comedy, hard comedy, I think it's all hard. I think the best people on this challenge, it seemed very character-driven and story-driven, whereas the ones that felt less successful felt more like a routine than a program. Yeah, does that make sense? It felt like a little routine, whereas the ones that I liked the best were like, wow, I get that. So it was very, you know, character and story driven. Here are my thoughts on the Champions Division. I will make a separate video for the next category. Adam Blake, I love the holidays, so I was super happy that you put us in a festive mood early this year. I thought it was perfectly light-hearted and fun. The music was a great choice. I loved at the end when you were kind of spinning and then doing choreography and then spinning. It felt really cool and fun and different. And I mean, you did a backflip, which, you know, backflips, hello, that is light comedy. I thought the choreography pace for the program was just right. It like started really fun and fast and light, and then it got slower, and then it finished super fast and exciting and fun. So I thought the pace of the program was perfect, and there were so many original moves in it. I just felt like I've never seen this person before, but wow, he has a lot of signature moves that I would like to see again. I don't think you could have done any better, Adam. So I mean, my only advice for you is just keep pushing yourself with new and creative stuff, because you have all the ability. So I hope you embrace this status that I am heaping upon you as early frontrunner in my brain. I give you a 5 out of 5, Adam Blake. I loved your program. Robert Mauti. At first, I was a little annoyed by your Britney Spears skit and your Frank Carroll jokes, and I was like screaming at the computer, "Bitch, start skating!" But I really liked your program. You have a great face for comedy. You have a really goofy face, and I think your program was brave. You know, and being great at comedy means being brave and going out on a limb and really kind of not being afraid to look like an idiot. And you just went out there and you just did this goofy routine and you skated on one foot. So I was like, oh my God, you should win like a gold medal in like skating on one foot. I'm sure they give that out at like the para something, but no. Yes, I thought it was a good song choice. It was good humorous choreography. Considering how limited you were doing movement on one foot, that I thought it was impressive that you're holding my attention on one foot. Based on this performance, though, I feel like I know the least about you, because I'm like, I don't really know what his, you know, because I didn't see that much. I saw 1 foot skating. But in terms of the challenge, which was make him smile, I thought you nailed it. At the end, I wrote, it was gross and not necessary to smell your sock. And that's, again, this is a note, you know, you seem like a funny person, so you can handle the critique. I think your humor needs a little editing, because your program part was charming and just right without the opening skit and the jokes and the sock smelling. It was like, it was charming as is. You didn't need the socks smelling. I gave you 4 out of 5, definitely one of my favorites of the day. Great job, Robert. I don't do any edits, so I'm just gonna keep talking, because I don't, you know, splicing means time, and time means I got more skating to watch. Skate America's today. Garrett Kling. Hi, Garrett. Great choreography. I like the part where you kicked and like kind of fell down. I don't even know what that means. Oh, you did some move where you like kicked and then you did some posing in that whole section. That was fun. It made me smile. My only critique really of you was you didn't cover a lot of ice, especially in the beginning. You kind of stayed in the same area in the opening. And I think, general note for skating, I feel like you should cover the entire ice early and engage the whole audience, and then find the smaller moves and the smaller moments once you have their attention. But if you start with the small moves, I feel like, you know, it's not the best. As an audience member, I'm like, he's way over there, come engage me. That's my opinion. But I loved it. I don't really have any critique on this one. I thought it was light and it was funny, and I enjoyed it. I really got a character out of this, and I enjoyed your personality. And I loved it, except for the ice car. I gave you a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really great. Heather McLaughlin. I really like the program. I love Chicago. This was the Chicago the musical. I love the Chicago. I love the musical. I love the movie. I love the song. I didn't feel any particular comedic vibes. It felt like, you took a production number out of the movie. I think it seemed like in your brain, like maybe that was an easy way out. Like, I don't know, like I think you should challenge yourself more, because it does seem safe to choose an actual production number with specific calls to I go, she goes. It's kind of like, it just seems that was an easy choice to do a routine with calls to movement. And I think you missed the chance to be funny with that. I think if you were going to do that, and you shouldn't have gone literal, like you copy, she goes, I go. It's like, oh, that's what we expect. And you should have done, if you had done something completely different, I think you should have challenged yourself as a choreographer. And I think you should do it again. I think you should redo this program, because you've got I think the structure and the patterns and stuff, but I think you should rethink it and just add comedic moves, be silly, not so literal. I think it was kind of just generic. I think you should have think about all those moments where you did the she goes, I go, and think of other things you could do, and that would have said, that would have made you from average to, oh, she's above average, she took it to another level. Like, that's where you should have been thinking. I gave it a 2. I think it was sexy and enjoyable, but not really right for this challenge. So I think, my advice for you is don't think so literally. I think you should think bigger and less literal. I think the people who did, better thought just kind of out, I think this was just a little too, so next time I think, surprise us a little more. I think this was just not a surprise. I think it was just a show routine to Chicago. It wasn't really light comedy. Felicia Beck. I think she went for it. Oh, it was the hoedown. There was a lot of lassoing, like lasso. And again, that's literal. Like, oh, I'm a cowgirl, I'm going to lasso. So, part of me was like, I like it, I appreciate it, but I don't know. I was mixed. It's definitely the type of routine that I watched it the second time, and I enjoyed it. The first time I was like, and then the second time I was like, oh, that's cute. Gun choreography. Again, it was very literal. In terms of the critique, I think when you're choreographing, and this is kind of general too, I think I felt like this was stiff. I feel like in general, people who skate really sharp, that works for them, or people who skate really loose and that works for them. This just kind of felt like stiff and over choreographed. Too many like extra arm movements, like kind of distracting me. So it felt over choreographed. And also too much stopping. It felt like it was not enough skating and a lot of stop, dance, pose, shoot. I felt like you could have kept it moving better. On a scale of 0 to 5, I gave you a 2.5, room to improve, but good start. Again, looking back, I watched the guys first. I really feel like the first couple I watched were kind of like outside, like those 3 guys were kind of like outside the box, and more creative, whereas Felicia and Heather, I felt like they were just kind of literal routines, which, being literal necessarily isn't as enjoyable for this challenge. Maybe later on in other challenges, being literal will be like, yeah, but this was more of a light comedy. I think there was more room. That I swear, like if I said like same with especially with the Chicago one, I'm like, if you could have just made like 5 or 6 adjustments in the choreography, it could have been like hilarious instead of so literal. Emily Tuttle, I wrote, Emily, you're adorable, I'm obsessed with you. Oh my God, your intro. I could watch your intro over and over again. Like that made me smile more than your routine. I wish you had skated it. I don't know if you're a skater, but you have such a wonderful on-camera personality. Like I was like, oh my God, she's so cute and so funny. But I love you, but I'm not supposed to talk about anybody's faces or bodies or I'm just choreography. So I think, my thought on this one was, I felt like you picked a song that you found humorous, but it didn't really translate into a make them smile routine. It felt like it was trying to be a sexy routine with that song, and again, kind of like the one I was just talking, it should have been ridiculous. Like I feel like this routine performance should have been ridiculous. So I think you should do it again. I think you should get this girl and, and just start it but just ridiculous. Like this is a ridiculous song and it wasn't ridiculous choreography. I think, the voguing on the floor, the scissoring of the legs, like that's not ridiculous. Like that's like kind of sexy. And again, if you're going to be sexy, you have to be ridiculous. Like, like I'm being sexy. It has to be sexy humorous, not like really sexy. Also, I think you need to make sure you're, showcasing your skater, whether it's you or another skater, to the best of their ability. There was a strangely misplaced catch foot spiral in the opening of the program. Like, what's that doing there? Like, it just seemed out of place. Like, as a choreographer, you should have saw that. Like, why the hell is she doing a spiral? Like, oh, I know you put it there, but that didn't work at all. Like, this catch foot, like a spiral should be like a showstopper, not, or I don't know, maybe, again, if it was supposed to be funny, like she's grabbing her leg and like doing a little but it was like she grabbed her leg and did a spiral and put her leg down. Like, why'd she just do a spiral there? So it didn't feel purposeful. And same with like the back shoot the duck thing. I'm like, what is that? Like, it just felt like moves kind of thrown together. Like it did. It felt like moves thrown together. So I think you should redo this program and, you know, add the humor and the ridiculous on top of it. The end split was odd. I wrote, a lot of people were rolling around. In this challenge, a lot of people were like on the ground, like rolling around, and I was like, oh God, and doing splits and stuff. I love you, Emily, though. You're adorable. I think I'd love to know you personally, but I gave your choreography in this number a 1.5. So that sounds low, but again, only ways to go is up. And everybody here, you know, certainly has tons of abilities as a choreographer. So don't if you didn't get a great score this chat, and someone else may have given you a 5, I don't know. But you know, this was just my opinion. I gave you a 1.5, but I love you, Emily. You're so cute. Let's be friends. Dianna-Lynne Webster Wells. Well, it's a lot of names you've got there. Dianna-Lynne Webster Wells, DLWW. I wrote down, oh, Jim Carrey was your childhood comedian. I felt so old because I thought if a woman's sitting there like, my favorite comedian, I thought you were going to say like Lucille Ball. You said Jim Carrey. I'm like, oh my God, she's like young. I loved it. I loved the way you landed your jumps and kept going into the choreography. That was like one of my favorite moves of the day of anybody. Like, you'd land a jump and you would like keep going. And this was like a literal production type number, but you made me smile. Like, this was, I loved it. This kind of was the next, you know, I think, you know, top 2 of the day, top maybe tied with that. You were, I think you're an outstanding choreographer, Dianna. I would totally take choreography from you. And I think, like Adam, you were an early fave, so I think, you know, for advice for you, you just rise to the occasion. Just show us all your tricks. And I loved it. I've watched it like 4 times. I thought your upper body choreography, a lot of people with choreography, like they're good at the feet, not with the upper body. Your upper body choreography was great. I'm not talking about your upper boy. I don't know, your upper boy, I can't even talk. And your ice coverage, perfect combination. And what I was talking about earlier about loose and sharp, which is a key to comedy, you nailed loose and you nailed sharp. I gave you a 4.5. Way to go. Finally, and I'm running out of tape, I have 4 minutes left. Marielle Chambers, you explained a lot about it was the flight attendant routine. And I thought it was creative. I appreciate your efforts on this challenge. I think that it was a well thought out story, and I think the talking elements over the music really added to the program. I think you might sneak up on the top folks. I think the actual performance, though, and the choreography was just okay. I think, you know, you adding those touches, it made me smile because I thought she's really trying and she's really kind of, so I appreciate your efforts maybe more than the actual choreography. I think like some of the other girls in the challenge, I think you could have, you know, I think just a couple more tweaks and like another day of just adding touches of humor would have just put you into the next, you know, I gave you a 2.5, maybe a 3. I'll give you a 2.5, but close to a 3. But I thought you did a good job. But and I appreciated your effort. That's the way I feel about a lot of you. I appreciated your efforts, but I loved Adams. And I love Dianna with all of her names, and then probably the Britney Spears guy. No, Garrett was it. I love Garrett was 3rd. I'm not supposed to rank you. Tweet me at Buck Hollywood and say, hi Buck, I just watched your critique. I'm on Facebook at Buck Hollywood, and my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Buck, B-U-C-K, youtube.com/Buck2, more videos. And thanks again, Audrey, for having me, and good luck in the competition, and I'll see you on my next video for the grassroots people. I haven't watched those yet. I gotta go watch them. And I just saw Skate America, freaking Caroline Jang. I thought she looked smiley, but then, Lord. Okay, stop talking.